Good evening all, welcome to another video on All Hail the Ale. Tonight we are going for a beer from a new brewery that I've not tried before. It's a beer that I picked up in Sainsbury's, and it is this one from Stewart Brewing. It is Radical Road. Radical Road describes itself as a 6.4% triple hopped pale ale, and it weighs in at 6.4% ABV, as we've already said. And interestingly, and I like this, on the bottle they describe the bitterness in IBUs, and it says it's 50. So it's not going to be hugely bitter, but there's going to be some bitterness going on. This is brewed in Scotland, which is always nice to support a British brewery. Edinburgh to be precise. And it says it's got flavours of grapefruit, marmalade, pine, and it is bittersweet. Sounds good to me. I paid £1.80 for this 330ml bottle of pale ale goodness. And yeah, does it tell me what's going on? Water, malted barley, wheat, hops and yeast. It doesn't go into specifics, but I'm sure we'll find out when I look at the website later. It gives you the details of their Facebook page, which is Stewart Brewing, and their Twitter, which is @StewartBrewing. So check them out on there. I'll stick the links in the description below for those. So yeah, like I say, £1.80 in Sainsbury's this one. It's quite a nice little bottle. Decent label, nice and clear, stands out on the shelf, which is always good. So let's crack her open and see what the pour is like. Excuse the buzz of the fans in the background. I'm installing Battlefield 5. There we are. So we've got what? A finger's worth of head there. We've got a nice amberish pale ale. Finger's worth just off-white head. Reasonably well carbonated. And it's pretty damn clear, you know. So, as for the aromas, not overly strong. I'm detecting a little bit of hop. Bit of grapefruit. Bit of bitter orange as well. Other than that, not a huge amount of scent going on. Let's try the beer. Actually, I take that bit about the 50 IBU being quite low. It's quite bitter. It's nice. I like that. It's got the grapefruit bitterness, and that if you've ever accidentally on purpose eaten orange peel and the pith underneath, that is exactly what's going on. I like it a lot. I guess that comes from the triple hopping. It's quite an oily finish as well. I like it a lot. Yeah, that's good. I'm getting a reasonably lengthy, slightly bitter aftertaste. I'm getting a little bit of malt, not a huge amount, but enough. Yeah, not bad. The hop profile isn't coming through in any particular way. I mean, there is something there, but the flavours are quite no, I don't want to say non-distinct, because that's not true. They're definitely there, I just can't make them out. That is true reflection of what I'm saying, or at least what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So let's go back to the bottle, because they said flavours of grapefruit, yes. Marmalade, yeah, that makes sense. The bitter orange, that pithy kind of something going on. Pine, yeah, I get that from the bitterness. It's definitely there. And bittersweet, I can't argue. It's got all of it, but the sweetness is so small. But that's there in the finish from the malt. It's pleasant though, don't get me wrong. So, let's go for a little bit of a score. Would I buy Radical Road 6.4% triple hop pale ale from Stewart Brewing? Again, Yeah, I would. I actually would. I like the bitterness. A lot of the IPAs and pale ales and whatnot that you get nowadays from any brewery are big juice bombs, and that's fine. It's nice. I appreciate a good juice bomb. I do. Some of my favourite beers are big, juicy, smash you in the face with a punnet of something, and I love it. But I grew up on bitter and bitter bitters. And I like this because it's kind of familiar and takes me back to my roots of drinking bitters and amber ales and brown ales. And there's that little bit of sentiment going on, and I like it a lot. And let's be honest, we all start somewhere, and more often than not we gravitate back towards it at some point in our life. And bitter drinks is what my old man brought me up on, and it makes sense I'm going back to them because they are the beers that I drank in my formative years. When everyone else was out drinking White Lightning, there I was drinking Spitfire and any other bitter I could get my hands on. It makes sense to me. So yeah, I would buy this again. So it's got at least a 3. Do I appreciate the grapefruit? I'm not a big grapefruit fan, I must say, of the fruit. But I appreciate it in small quantities in beer, and it thankfully is only in small quantities to my taste buds in Radical Road. I'm getting a lot more of the bitter orange, and that works for me. I'm getting the pine, and I love pine. I love those flavours, those kind of resinous flavours that kind of just get you at the back of the tongue, the back of the jawbone. They work well. So for me, I wish there was just a little bit more complexity in the hop profile. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but I just wish it was a little bit more complex. But that's not to take away from the fact it's a very nice beer. And as for a final score, for £1.80 on Radical Road from Stewart Brewing, I would say this gets a good solid 4 1/4. You know, if it was just a little bit more complex on the hop profile, it'd get a bit more from me. If there was perhaps a little bit more body, it would score even higher. But I absolutely cannot knock this at all for 180. It's a great beer. I've only recently noticed it in Sainsbury's, so thank you Sainsbury's of Stoke-on-Trent for stocking this stuff. It's very nice. So ladies and gents, boys and girls, this has been Radical Road from Stewart Brewing up in Edinburgh, Scotland. And apologies in advance, Scotland, because England are going to win the Calcutta Cup this weekend. Wales are going to lose to Ireland. And England will win the Six Nations. That's my prediction. It's Friday night now, Friday the 15th of March. I've been Nick, this has been The Beer, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye.